Hello and welcome to Wicklow Good News with me, Gillian Gottsell. Today I'm very pleased to welcome on the show Siobhan Megan, who is the Rural Development Officer with the LEADER programme within Wicklow Partnership. Good morning and welcome to the show, Siobhan.
Thank you for having me.
You're brilliant. Now the LEADER programme, we all know about LEADER. It's a term we band about. But how does it work and what is your role in it?
I suppose for people who mightn't know about LEADER, but I suppose it has been around a long time, since 1992, and Wicklow Partnership has been involved in delivering the programme since then. So we've significant budgets to invest in County Wicklow, invest in communities and invest in enterprises in County Wicklow. And I suppose as a development officer, it's my job. On the surface, I help applicants access that funding. But I suppose in reality, there's just a bit more detail to it than that. So some applicants we deal with, they're very competent, capable people, and all they want is support in investing in their business or investing in their community. Some people have had several LEADER investments before, so they know exactly how to put together an application and how the system works, so they don't need much of our time. But I suppose what we want more is, we don't want the kind of same people getting the money program after program after program. So what the majority of the projects I work with, I suppose, we meet people, and to be honest, so I love my job, and we meet people and they've loads of ideas, they have a ton of ideas, and it's our job to try to, I suppose, drill down those ideas into projects, essentially, and take them along a pathway of kind of making that idea into something tangible, identifying what is it you need to do first, kind of is there a series of steps you need to take, and what do each of those steps cost? And so sometimes there could be, it could be several applications to deliver an idea into a project, and then more times it can be just one. So it's a very positive job, and it's a very positive piece of work, and it's just it differs with every applicant.
So you work, I'm saying, in the food, enterprise, and environment. Those are your particular sectors. Yeah. Can you give me some examples?
I have two colleagues. Yeah, so I have two colleagues as well. So, say the main themes of the LEADER programme are, we look at enterprise, social inclusion, and environment. So we've them kind of split up between our various different interests and expertise. Alison and Evelyn are my colleagues. Development officer colleagues. So yeah, as I said, I work kind of predominantly with food producers and food projects, as well as the environment. So to be honest, the food ones, they just come, they don't need a significant amount of work.
Can you give me some examples of?
Yeah, so in this programme so far, we'd have supported Wicklow Wolf, Wicklow Farmhouse Cheese, a lovely small bakery in Grange Con. I'm trying to think of some of the others off the top of my head, and I'm going a little bit blank. But there are, they're very established businesses or startups. And again, our role with them would have been just helping them along the application process. One of our significant investments is this in this programme has been in the implementation of County Wicklow's food development strategy, because there's an awful lot happening within the food sector in County Wicklow, but it's quite segmented and individual. There's a lot of people doing very interesting work together. What we're trying to do is to bring that together to showcase everything Wicklow has to offer in one place. And part of that has been the development of the Wicklow Naturally Food brand. And I suppose we're working hard with our partners in Wicklow County Council and in the local enterprise office, and trying to get food producers and food businesses to sign up to that to help promote the whole of County Wicklow. And that's taken significant investment. So, and we're delighted to be part of that. But then, so our environment projects are a little bit trickier to get off the ground then, because there hasn't been a basis in order to develop that. So we're starting from the ground up there. And again, I suppose we're working with our colleagues in Wicklow County Council. The environmental awareness section there are doing a lot of work. And we can work on projects to improve biodiversity. We're working on projects in renewable energy, and we're also working on projects to improve our waterways and to work with communities along our waterways. So again, the projects can vary from signage projects to community training. So working with a community within a catchment area to help train those people and yes, to help train individuals along those communities. Because there aren't necessarily, people aren't, I suppose, tuned into, I suppose, everyone agrees that we should do more for the environment and that we should be doing more, but not everyone is kind of really aware as to what I can be doing. So what we're doing is a lot of training to try to get people thinking about it kind of from an individual perspective and from what your community's perspective. And I suppose our ethos is every action makes a difference when it comes to community-based environmental actions. So we don't all necessarily have to be going and trying to purchase the snazziest wind turbine or solar panels, but a lot of it is looking at how can I make my river cleaner along my stretch, and how can I work with schools and communities and, you know, kids and older people. The biodiversity.
I was going to say, so your audience, you work with startups, established businesses, and communities as well. So there's
exactly, yeah. And again, I suppose. So every program they run in a 5-year term. So the current program is nearing its end, and we've like 95% of our budget committed at the moment. So it's the 2014 to 2020 program. And then after every program finishes, we'll go back and we will do another bit of strategic research to look at where are the needs again, because the needs change every 5 years. And then our objectives and I suppose the actions that we identify that we want the next program funding to go towards change. Obviously, like we have successes or things like COVID come and change your entire perspective and your plans. In the beginning, I suppose access to biodiversity and improving quality of our biodiversity was something that came out extremely strong in the research done in advance of this program. So we are funding things like community gardens, on-term allotments, in Baltinglass. I suppose it's one of my favourite projects that I'd have worked with as part of this programme. It's a really lovely space, and it's such a cross-community space of old people and young people and different faiths and different groups within the town all come together as part of a community garden, and they each have an individual raised bed. And the work we'd have helped them to do was improving accessibility to their garden so that like people who are on wheelchairs or have other mobility issues or dementia, so it's a dementia-friendly garden as well, and we would have helped On-Term and make that investment. So these are like, sometimes their projects they're quite under the radar. It might only be members of those communities are aware of it.
But the impact, I imagine, would be a
significant difference. It really does make
the impact for a local community being able to come and I love the enthusiasm in your voice. You're talking about the young ones and the old ones and people with disabilities, whatever. That's a fantastic project.
Yeah. No, and they're a really good group. They're a very strong group. They're and like I suppose they're very practical. I suppose that's what I'm saying. Like their ambitions are very achievable. Mm-hmm. So like I suppose when they came to us, it was just like, again, it was just no problem. There wasn't. It was a very quick turnaround in getting their application around, because it was very easy to identify what investment they needed.
So what type of people, you said people come to you with ideas. What type of ideas are you looking for? And you're at the very end of this
So we're at the very end of the program now. So some of the, like where we have funding left we still have funding left in our biodiversity budget and in our rural youth budget, are the two of those. Mm-hmm. So in the rural youth in particular, it's my colleague Evelyn is dealing with that. I suppose they're bureaucratic barriers in the way of, like, we have a lot of projects that work with young people, but it's just there's elements of counting we need to be able to do in order to for projects to be eligible under that fund. So, and a lot of the time youth groups themselves aren't they don't have the capacity or time, or just even basic things like bank accounts that we need applicants to have in order to be eligible to apply under that fund. What we would like, we would like people to come to us who are working with young people. So we would love applicants who are groups who are already kind of like established groups who are already kind of organised to work with younger groups, to almost buddy up with young groups. And then, because there's lots of ideas and there's definitely resources needed for young people in rural Ireland. Because I think isolation around COVID has affected them so terribly. And that if there aren't resources locally, then it's doubly difficult for them. So if there are other community groups who'd be wanting to work with young people in young groups, we'd love to see them come forward.
And just to clarify, what is it? What is a young person? Is there a definition?
Oh, oddly, 15 to 35 or something. I think it's quite an old young person. I think that's
good.
Do I just still qualify by the skin of my teeth? Yeah, so yeah, that's our kind of leader definition of a young person.
Yes. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So between now and the end of the year, so it's you said it's the young people, rural people, and what was the other one? Biodiversity.
And our biodiversity, yes, yeah. So we still have funding left there. And I think again, our investments can be as small as kind of €2,000 and as big as €200,000. So there's quite a lot of scope in terms of what we can do. So we don't want, I suppose, some of the projects I'd be telling about it might be a little bit grander, but we can look at big and small projects. So I suppose come to us sooner rather than later, because sometimes, again, as I said, it takes a little while to make an idea into an application. Yeah. But yeah, so we're nearly there in terms of spending the money, and I think we've mostly spent it quite well. So I suppose, I help people with applications. They get decided by the local community and development committee. They're the decision makers in all projects. But I suppose we do our best to help everyone make it through the process. But yeah, so we don't have a long time left, so that if anyone has ideas, come to us now, I suppose is what I'd be trying to say.
That's the call to action.
Yeah, exactly.
And Siobhan, how can they reach you? Your details are on the website.
They are, yes, yeah. So wicklowpartnership.ie or our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages have our contacts there, and we can reach out there, and you can find us. Or smeegan@wicklowpartnership.ie is my email.
Brilliant, and it's unusual spelling, so I'm going to suggest that people.
That's
yeah.
So
website.
SMEHIGAN@wicklowpartnership.ie.
Perfect. Thank you very much indeed for your time today and your enthusiasm. You obviously do love the job. Thank you so much. And thank you to Marlena Murphy for producing, and Gavin Dowd and Stan. Until next week, until next show, be good, be safe, and keep on helping others. Thank you.